All right. Good morning, Maurizio. Morning,
Morning,
everyone.
guys. Morning again. Morning. How you guys doing?
So on the which call was it? It might have been the leverage call. I had my bull run shirt on. So you've always got to watch what color shirt that I've got. And now today, the question you've got to ask is, have I got a red shirt
Is that
on?
the
Is
berry
it quite
shirt on?
weird, you know?
I think we should wear that according to our feelings, and it will be very interesting to time the market accordingly. That will be your sentiment T-shirt. That
Exactly. Exactly. So you have different shades of green shirts and different shades of red shirts, you know. So today I'm feeling mildly bearish.
there we go. There we go. Mildly better.
Otherwise, I have
Let's
yeah,
do some.
yeah. Otherwise, I
That's
have the super red shirt on. All right, let's find out in the chat then. What color shirt are you wearing today? Are you wearing a green shirt or a red shirt? Tony Whitman, red shirt. Okay, so who else is feeling bearish? And well, you don't have to tell me your real color if it's grey or purple, but red or green, really. Andrew Hart, bright green. That's great to see. Are you bearish or Marlon? Marlon's telling us he's naked. Oh dear.
uh,
All right. No shirt. Yeah, everybody wants to tell me they're naked. I'm just trying to make my chat box a little bit bigger. You can
yeah, I'm
extend.
glad we don't enable cameras for everybody, man. Will be
Oh,
interesting.
oh. I imagine that Scott would have some incredibly foul metaphor for a lot of
Definitely. Yeah.
propaganda. Yeah, yeah. And kind of you. All right. So speaking of Scott, he is on an aeroplane right now. How exciting is that on an aeroplane? So yeah, he humbly apologizes, but where he needed to travel to, this was the time slot that was available. So you've only got two of the three best looking men in Asia, maybe. Who,
But I'm not in Asia, man. Like,
today.
yeah.
All right. All right then. So I am sharing screen. Okay. Yeah. You see my trading view okay?
Yeah, all good, man.
All right. Okay. So what we're looking at here then is the monthly chart of Bitcoin, okay? And where the crosshair is now, this is back in November 21. Now, here we've got, let's just say, a white candle. And here we've got a black candle, okay? But another way to look at this is, in this candle, you've got a group of human beings. And in this candle, you've got a different group of human beings. In this candle, you've got a group of human beings that are very excited. In this candle, you've got a group of human beings that are not excited at all. In fact, they're starting to panic a little bit. This wick at the top, okay? So a wick is an extreme of price. So at the tip of that wick is all the people that FOMO'd in to Bitcoin in November 2021. That's when Scott says, you'll know when the top is in because the people that never talk to you about Bitcoin and crypto will start talking to you about Bitcoin and crypto. And that top of that wick represents it. So they buy in and oh dear, the money's already going down. Shit the bed. Okay. So this next candle then, that has a big wick at the top and a big wick at the bottom, you could call that a capitulation candle. Scott would describe it as everybody got fucked. That's the way that he would describe that candle. So price just kind of froze here, you know. There was all this exuberance that went before, but then hang on, it's not going. Why isn't it going up anymore? Shit, it's going down. Okay. But then mixed in with here, you don't just have people that got trapped, you have people that are taking profits. There's all kinds of different people that are in there. And that's what these charts show. these charts are just a visual representation of human greed and fear. Greed at the top, fear at the bottom. And unless you're a total psychopath, you've got emotions as well. Everybody's got emotions. And it's those emotions that make people do batshit crazy things. So the people that can control their emotions and follow a plan, well, they're profitable. It's like, you know, I don't want to be like really like nerd and stuff like that. But if you look at high level quant traders, you know, they're maths geniuses. Yeah, I mean, they really are. And they're not emotionally involved in this. If any of the FinRev members have watched the latest AMA, where Timon, our CTO, talks about his portfolio, this is his manual portfolio away from FinRev, being underwater, he doesn't talk about it in tears. He's not there. He's like, yeah, this is the portfolio, this is the situation, this is my hypothesis for buying. So it's all human fear and greed. And it's fascinating when you start to look at it that way. When you read comments, like there's some comments that are in the group today, you know, and I won't name any names, but there's this one post that makes this absolute, this is what is going to happen. We are going to have this monthly candle close, and then we're going to shit the bed to 50. It's like, wow, that's quite a statement. Okay. So like, what's your hypothesis? What's your reasoning for that? Okay. So how do you come up with these hypotheses and these reasoning and these ideas and everything? Well, there's all kinds of different ways. There's looking at price action, there's technical analysis, there's market sentiment. There's a lot of things that are going on. And this is what makes trading hard work, because you're mixing technical with emotion as well. So the reason I'm rambling on about this is because I find the psychological side of trading just absolutely fascinating. So let's carry on having a look at the picture then. Okay, so we have this sell-off, and then we go up a little bit, but then look at this sell-off. Okay, that is a big sell-off. So what is happening in these three candles? Okay, there's people giving up. That's people capitulating. That's why they call them capitulation candles. Okay, so you bought Bitcoin at its absolute peak here, and now you're down to here, and your husband or wife or whoever says to you, we're not having sex anymore until you're back in profit on Bitcoin. Okay, what are you going to do? If you don't understand things like the 4-year cycle and stuff like that, then you're trapped. Okay, so all the people under here are now trapped, just watching this price of Bitcoin go down and go down and go down and they're like, fucking hell. The other side of that, you've got people that are like, right, this is just the best DCA time whatsoever. I've got an 8-year Bitcoin plan. I've got a 12-year Bitcoin plan. So I'm just going to keep buying this cheap Bitcoin. I'm going to put lower and lower bids in every time, and I'm going to take this Bitcoin off of you. Okay. And that's what happens. The money is changing hands. These people that had the Bitcoin, well, they're selling the Bitcoin to these people that are the savvy investors that know when to buy it. Okay, that's the money changing hands there. And you can get all the way down to here, you know, where price is going down, it's going down, it's going down. And it's like, it was 60 when you bought it. Now look at it. Just get us something back. Save something. You know what I mean? That's what's happening at dinner tables all over the planet. You twat, why did you ever buy crypto? And everybody hates crypto. Everybody loves crypto. Everybody hates crypto. Okay. Then it starts to slow down. Okay. So you'll hear lots of expressions like shake out the weak hands. Well, here is where you're shaking out those final people that are holding on, those people that are like, I think Bitcoin is going to happen. But those people, they haven't educated themselves. So they just don't understand cycles and stuff like this. And all they see is themselves underwater. They look at the red and they're like that. The world is over. This Bitcoin is never coming back. Because they're underwater, they want everybody else to be underwater. They want everybody else to hurt like they do. That's called FUD, ladies and gentlemen. And FUD comes about because things aren't quite going your way. The market doesn't care about you. And your feelings are not facts. And that's what happens here. And then you have people that are on the sideline all the way down here when Bitcoin's at 15,000. They're like, no, fuck it. I'm putting stink bids in for 14,000. The money is changing hands. Okay. So then we see this big rally that goes on for 4 months. And then we go into this sideways action. Okay. Well, why is it going sideways? Why is it not going down anymore like it did before? Why is that? Is it to do with lines on a chart? Is it to do with this? No, it's to do with human beings, isn't it? The people that bought Bitcoin here for 14, they are riding that dragon all the way to Valhalla. They are not selling. So you get to here where it could be a big sell-off, let's take profits, and that doesn't happen. And when that doesn't happen, that tells you that the people that are holding Bitcoin are the ones with testicular fortitude, the ones that are in this for the long run. They ain't selling. They have a macro belief that Bitcoin is going to keep going up. So we get this kind of sideways action, which you could call a consolidation range, because the market is always trying to find equilibrium. It's always trying to find the fair price. That's all, and that's the only job of a market, is to find a fair price. So in here, we're just finding fair price. There's so many opportunities for dollar cost averaging within these ranges as well. And that's what people who are Bitcoin investors that have chosen how long they want to invest in Bitcoin, 4 years, 8 years, 12 years, 16 years, whatever they want to do. They're just dollar cost averaging. This might be the cheapest Bitcoin ever is. I'm going to keep buying it nice and small, nice and small. Okay. Then we get this fantastic push up here. Everybody's back in love with Bitcoin again. Okay. We even get to all-time highs. Now, anybody that knows how the 4-year cycle works, when we get to all-time highs here, they're thinking to themselves, something is different here, because normally we don't get to all-time highs until we have the exponential phase of the bull run, which comes after the halving. On average, about 150 days or so after the halving, but that's simply looking back at previous halvings, taking an average of the days. It's not a law, it's not a rule. It's just like this is kind of what's happened before. It does not mean that it will happen again, but it gives us some kind of structure or something to think about. So we think to ourselves, okay, we've accelerated ahead a little bit at the moment. So what behavior can we observe now? We can see this kind of sideways action. We can see this kind of sideways action here. Okay. So what do we need to go up again? Well, people talk about catalysts, don't they? You know, things like Bitcoin ETFs, Ethereum ETFs. When governments start turning on the money printer, that's the real one. It's the new entrance to the market that will fuel the next leg, because what fuels a leg? You have to have people on the sidelines suffering FOMO. The guy that wasn't interested in Bitcoin at 14, he's now interested in it at 74. People are just crazy like that. So this is on the monthly. Now, if we knock it down to the weekly or even the daily, we can just have a look at that same information, but presented in a different way. So that's the only reason why you go through these different time frames, so that you can see something and then you can have a look at it. You know, 30 of these candles obviously equal one candle on the monthly chart. So The Bitcoin daily then, what's the first question that we ask ourselves whenever we open a chart every single time? This is a pop quiz. Let's see if anybody can get this. The very first question that we ask ourselves whenever we look at a chart. In 5, 4, Richard Bannister. Yes, 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 yes. Are we trending or are we in a trading range? The answer should be obvious to an 8-year-old. Are we trending or are we in a trading range? I think we're in a trading range. All right. If we look at this trading range, then it is very, very big, 58,000 to 74,000. So we can start to make this a little bit more manageable. We can put a line that's in the middle of this trading range. And then we can start asking ourselves questions like, are we in this trading range in the bottom half? Or are we in this trading range in the up half? The up half, the higher part, the top half, whatever you want to call it, okay? So then if we look, we burst into here, we carry on up, and then we got kind of 1 or 2 days, we take a little dip. We have a burst. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. These are called local tops, by the way. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 days. And then we get this downside action and we come back into the bottom half of the channel. We can look to our left and say, do we expect a volatile retest of this line here? We can look back and say, well, that was a pretty big wick there. So, but we didn't actually touch the bottom of the range. Okay. And you can get deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, you know, higher lows and all. But you can just also keep it to that. Well, okay, then. And then we go back up and then we go back. So this is classic trading range behavior. And then we're back up again, this time, a couple of days before we drop back down. And then we go into this kind of month-long downtrend. And we do come and touch the bottom of the trading range. And we do retest the bottom of that trading range, okay? I believe that this pattern would be called a double tweezer bottom, and it's quite clearly a reversal pattern. On this candle here, you've got the bears and then the bulls step in, and then whoosh, we come up and we touch that trend line. And then we kind of tickle it for a little bit, and then we break through it. And then once we break through it, then we start asking our questions like, well, okay, then what's the next candle going to do? What's going to happen with the retest? Is the breakout going to happen or not? And then you'll see Scott start putting on the charts. I think there's 50% this, 25% this, 25. That's where those kind of percentages and stuff come from, okay? So whoosh, we do get this breakout, okay? And then we have a couple more candles, and then we can start to draw a couple of lines here. Now, you could have an argument about whether those lines are drawn correctly. You could call it a bull flag this, you could call it a wigwam. I don't really care. It's a couple of lines that fit either side of those candles that allow us to observe a behavior that's going on. And if we look at that behavior, we're just pecking away at that top resistance. Can we flip that resistance into support? Oof. And then we've broken through it. Well, that's nice, isn't it? But what do we expect to happen next? What has happened every time in this trading range with these local tops after 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 days? We've broken to the downside. And then we come and test. You see that? We come and test that support, okay? So this downside wick is basically saying, are buyers still supporting price at this level? Yes or no? Price wants to find out. So it comes down, it touches it, woof, and we're straight back up. So now we are still in a trading range, but we're in the upper half of the trading range. What does that mean? Well, at this point, I'll probably hand over to Maurizio. So what I really wanted to, actually, sorry, I've just got one last thing to say. What I actually really wanted to explain to you is that you can demystify a lot of this stuff, especially if you start with human behavior, okay? Which leads us to FinRev. All I'm going to say about FinRev is that anybody that's a FinRev member wants to consume this post, okay? what to expect in the first year of FinRev, okay? It's a long-term system. So we ask ourselves the question, are we in a trend or are we in a trading range? We're quite clearly in a trading range, okay? FinRev is a trend following system, i.e. we need a trend for it to happen, okay? We might only get one trend a year, two trends a year, who knows, okay? So FinRev is a hands-off. But if you want to understand more, then focus on trend following. That's the key. That's the key thing to understand with FinRev is trend following. Okay. And that's it for my little bit, Maurizio.
All right, thanks, Ian. No, that was great. Ian was giving us really, really good insights in terms of the psychology. So besides the candles, there is a bunch of stuff that we should be looking at. You know, we have a look at the data's liquidations. Because could you go back and put your monthly chart, Ian, please?
And I'll just need to close Pornhub. Okay.
All right, so the thing though, one of the things that Bitcoin does and does really well is this narrative around all the hodlers and people that are buying on DCA. And for those ones that doesn't know what a DCA is basically dollar cost averaging. You can buy like that kind of a strategy. I use it on my long-term portfolio. Is really, really strong. Why? Because I believe in Bitcoin, I believe in Ethereum, and I believe in that this type of assets are going to grow in value long term. What does that mean? So essentially, instead of actually buying a whole bunch of money, like let's say you have $1,000 right now and you want to go all in Bitcoin, and because you know that that Bitcoin is going to appreciate in value, there is another way of doing it, and it's doing DCA. What that means is you divide your capital among different sort of chunks, right? And you can buy here and here and here and here and here and here. You know what I mean? Like you can keep just buying without caring of the price. If it goes up, if it goes down, you can keep buying here, you can keep buying here. What that does is actually when you start buying little chunks of your capital into Bitcoin and you don't go in to sell it, this is most likely to people that appreciate this asset as an asset, right? You buy a spot, you never go buy leverage on this stuff because you're holding the asset. You're gonna do something with that asset, and that's the narrative that it goes with Bitcoin. Okay, so what that does is actually gives you a really good, nice average price at the end of the day. And if you keep buying and this thing keeps appreciating in value, essentially you're saving on an asset that it will appreciate in value. Risks around that, you have to be aware where you put your Bitcoin. If it's in an exchange, if the exchange goes down, then your money is gone. That's why you think about wallets and put that into wallets. So that's the biggest, like in terms of the whales, what the whales that people that actually are in Bitcoin long term, that's what they do. So that essentially was Ian showing us right here on this is when short-term traders and long-term traders just sort of start making a synergy, and you see people start using leverage and all that sort of stuff. That's why you get all these massive pumps. Okay, so that's a great sort of way in terms of psychology. So look it up, and then we might do something about DCA because it's still really, 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 really good strategy. All right, so let's go back to I'm just gonna go through the market structure and what we're seeing. This give me 1 second, I'll share my screen. And this, okay, so let's look up at, and obviously today we just have a close of a weekly candle. So for those ones that are new in the group, obviously we look at Ian was looking at monthly charts, and that gives you a lot of like long-term view of the market. we look at weekly, daily, more than likely, but just today and Monday, well, Monday for us, I'm in Australia. So Monday, about 25 minutes ago, the weekly. So weekly charts close every Monday, 00 UTC. So that gives a really, really good insight of what happened during the week. During the week, you can have a lot of ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. But when we actually go and look at the weekly, then we see where everything is at. So let's start with Bitcoin, right? So now let's not start with Bitcoin. Let's start with our total three, right? Where is our alt markets? So if you guys seen my videos, I like weekly levels. So here's a weekly, like all our weekly levels in terms of the total three market cap without the USDT and without the USDC. Now, what we're seeing here, look at these levels in terms of the whole alt market. We just closed above this massive weekly level, right? So we came down from a downtrend right here. We had a consolidation range around here. However, something to be mindful about this total three is that there is new, like the total three takes into account all alts, and there are new alts coming up every single day, right? In terms of new projects. And that's basically what's pushing this stuff, right? It's not all like, so you have to take this with a grain of salt in terms of all the alts are pumping or all the alts are growing in value. There's going to be some new projects. There's going to be some old projects. There's going to be a lot of stuff. So it's a lot of, this is just a fair view of where the market is heading in terms of the alts, okay? So with that being said, you can actually see that we had a massive run right here, and then now we have pullbacks. This level right here, in terms of the alts, market cap actually is very, very strong. And now we just closed above here. So it's a highly likelihood that we have a high probability that we can continue going right here, right? So obviously the biggest level that we need to look is this highs right here, right around here. But that gives a really, really good sort of range that all alts could go really, really bullish, right? I'm seeing a lot of bullishness around here. If all the alt market caps are actually break this level, then this is just going to go crazy. Like it's going to really, really go all-time highs, and most of the alts are going to go really, really well. Okay, so but with that being said, if we start looking at Bitcoin, right? So I'm just going through the same levels. This is our all-time highs that happened in November 2021. And now we are on that range. It's a new range that is being created. Why? Because we broke and we had all-time highs in March, right? Around now, all-time highs, yeah, started in March, then and on the second week of March actually get all the way up to 73,000. Now, when crypto or any asset goes into these levels that has never been, it goes into this psychology that we call price discovery. And what Ian was saying is pretty cool in terms of psychology, in terms of finding the fair value, because that's when markets find whatever is people willing to pay for that asset, right? So imagine that you're buying a Coke, right? You know, and you're very thirsty, and then you're in a concert, and now let's go with bottled water, right? So imagine that you are very thirsty and you go into a concert and there's no water whatsoever, and someone sells you a water, which usually outside the stadium is $1, and inside the stadium you can pay up to $10, right? Why? Because you find it valuable, right? You find it that's the fair price at that given moment because you are in a concert and you are very, very thirsty and you're willing to pay that money, right? So with that being said, all these assets, altcoins, tokens, coins, whatever you want to call it, right? It goes into that psychology. What is going to be the fair value of this So it goes into a trading range, okay? Finding that, is that people willing to accept this price? And the way that we look at this market in terms of the weekly candles is that you can see that, especially this candle right here, this candle went all the way down here to 56,000. And when it went down here, you have massive levels here. So people are willing to buy this price. You know, if this continues to go down, so there's people out there that find that 56, this area here between 56,000 and 60,000 is actually a fair price, right? So markets, when a lot of people finding that fair price or whatever people are willing to pay for that, they are in an agreement. That's when bullish themes come along, right? When the thing that is too expensive, right? So imagine, what do you think people will think when Bitcoin will go and hit 100,000? This is just a quiz, guys. Give me in the chat, what happened to your psyche if you think, or imagine that Bitcoin reaches 100,000. What do you think? What do you think? And Brian says sell. And Brian, why do you want to sell? Diamond hands, yeah. 70K will be a bargain. You will, Ken will hold. Right. So as you can see, a lot of people have different opinions of what that level will give you, right? So that's what we're trying to do with these candles at these particular levels, to figure out what, you know, people, what the psychology around it. However, I'm going to show you something on Ethereum that you have to be mindful in terms of, we're only not dealing with people buying this asset, we're dealing with people shorting the asset or taking advantage and shorting the market. So we have more pressure on the market to actually hold that level, okay? So there is a bunch of stuff going on in the market in terms of finding that price. So that's why, thinking from that perspective, and then that's what we're trying to do here. So with that being said, if we go back to Ethereum now, so Bitcoin looks really good in terms of that it's been, let's go back and analyze the weekly. So weekly looks like really, really bullish. Obviously, we enter this in, we are in a range, definitely. And as you can see, this week here, what that means is people, you know what I mean? Like people that probably bought around here or around here, when the price reaches this level, saying, oh, I'm selling, you know, I'm not dealing with this or whatever. I already have profits and I'm happy with that, or sell half or whatever. So that's when you see with wicks. So what you can see here is that Bitcoin actually is losing a little bit of strength, especially this week. However, that doesn't mean that this is going to retrace, right? It could, yeah. So we could start seeing that it could retrace back to 65. That's our level. That seems to be like a really, really high level. As you can see, why do I say that? Because bounce here, bounce here, bounce here, bounce here, broke, and then goes to the next level, which is this one's, right? So that's why if it holds around here, yeah, it could be really, really strong. Bear in mind also that we have this level up here, which is the 74,000. And if that breaks, we could actually see a jump, an exponential jump as well. Could be 90, could be 100, who knows, right? Whatever is people willing to do. So that's kind of what the psychology of the market could be. So where are we at in terms of Ethereum? Ethereum looks really, really healthy. Look at this candle, right? So that was last week. So huge candle. Now we are at this level, and funny enough, I've been saying that if you guys do any scalping stuff like that, all these weekly levels, you can also always more than likely find resistance, and you know, it's just how interesting how this plays, because it touched that level, and I did not change these levels whatsoever, guys. You can actually go back to see the videos. Those levels exist, and there's just the way to draw it is just by going back and look at the week, what happened last week or a couple of weeks before, and then that level came from here. So that level came from the first bull run, right? You have this double top. I drew this level. Why? Because that was a huge level that wasn't able to break, and that level is the one that we are right now, right? So what level is that? 3,900, 3,930, give it a take. Obviously, it's not an exact level, but what I think, what it could be happening right now, obviously, we had the ETF catalyst in terms of the Ethereum. So if that plays along and the same narrative comes along, we have this break, and more than likely it's going to hit all-time highs at some point, right? Because that's kind of the same thing that happened with Bitcoin. So it looks pretty strong in terms of technicals, right? And in terms of psychology as well. But let me show you as well what's going on with some of the aggregated liquidations and stuff like that, the open interest. So this is another thing on the market that we have to be aware of. So people that are doing this AI start buying, but then you have different players that are using leverage and using a lot of different things that we can measure through other means or the other ways of actually gather data. So we have the open interests right here that it looks, and the open interest basically measures if people are going long and short on futures. And sometimes the spot drives the market, sometimes futures drive the market, sometimes leverage drives the market. So what we're trying to figure out is where we at in terms of who's driving the market, what's happening with the future market, and assess and see how well it looks. And it's been working well for the last couple of weeks. Why we can see the open interests keep going up. We see some liquidations up and down right here on to the upside, to the downside, but it still looks pretty strong in terms of no one is selling, from that perspective. Another one interesting that I wanted to show you, you can go to Coinalyze and actually, load Ethereum or Bitcoin or whatever asset. You can actually load these ones, which is the cumulative volume delta. So this is the volume on marginated contracts, which is leveraged contracts, and a stable coin, USDT perpetuals on this particular asset, and the whole futures market as well, and the spot. The interesting thing is, usually on bull runs, right? Usually, and I say usually, why? Because that doesn't mean that it always is like that. You can actually see that the spot, which is, if people are buying spot, it means that they do believe in the asset, and this is kind of the first thing that I see on bull runs. Why? Because imagine, like, if someone buying leverage, at some point they will need to dispose that leverage or take profits, because they will be paying funding rates, and funding rates could fluctuate, and that's when short-term traders usually go and play leverage trades and make some money. Can short the market as well, all this sort of stuff. So they say, like, the biggest thing to watch is the spot volume. So if the spot volume starts going up, it means that people are hodling. Okay, people are not selling, people are hodling, people are, or big banks or the ETF now narrative come along, and then you start seeing influx on volume or the influx on liquidity, right? So you can start seeing that the spot start growing in volume. What that means is people are buying spot, people are hodling, people are getting into Ethereum. Okay, and you can see the short-term stuff right here. Some people bought, some people, you have some buyers right here, you have some sellers right here, buyers, sellers, but the spot remains strong. Okay, and that's the same situation that happened with Bitcoin and the ETF. Is that going to happen the same thing? No, but it's highly likely that people start getting accumulation on Ethereum. So from that perspective, I can see that Ethereum could keep growing in value. We are in a position on Ethereum already on leverage, so that looks really, really good. So it looks pretty strong. So I just want to give you a little bit of my thoughts on why and how I go about it and how we go about it and why we think that it's all good now. Like it's all like it looks pretty good for a long-term sort of, not long-term, medium-term, so to speak, out bull run, right? So that's what we've been trying to measure. So yeah, it looks really good. If we look at the glass node and the exchange balances, Bitcoin exchange balances, we usually look at this and when we start seeing this drop on exchanges, that means that people are taking their coins and actually put it away in their hard wallets or cold wallets or whatever. So they're not willing to sell, right? So we saw a massive drop on exchange flows right here on Bitcoin, and now it's getting sort of got some people actually putting into exchanges. So that could give us a little bit of an insight that could be a little bit choppy, but in terms of long term, it looks really, really good. Same thing with Ethereum. However, let me load that up. All right, so Ethereum, right? The exchanges balances on Ethereum keep dropping a lot. So we can see that now, people could get a little bit more sort of apprehensive of the price. However, if we combine this with the information that we have in terms of the technicals, right? A lot of people are waiting for this break. The fact that, let me look it up in one day. All right, so this is daily, right? So we have this massive leverage dump right here, and that's one the day of the ETF. So it went all the way up to 39.50. Didn't reach the 4,000 level, 39.50, and then came down all the way here, right? A lot of volatility, right? But in terms of the dailies, holding up pretty well on this level. And I drew this level a while back. I drew this level probably on the 10th of April. Why? Because this is kind of the level that you can actually see that people are finding fair value in terms of what it is. So the fact that we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, give it or take, on this level, it could give us a really good indication that this could be an acceptance price. So what that means is there is a highly likelihood that this will continue moving up. Can this actually drop? Yes. First level that I'm going to be looking at is this one, the 3,900, which is funny enough. That's where this candle stopped and then bounce right on it. So yeah, these levels are pretty interesting, and we can sort of, it looks pretty well. It looks pretty good in terms of where Ethereum is going, and yeah, no, looks really positive. Okay, so so that's in terms of the whole market, guys. I think Dennis, so should we buy more? Right. That's a very good question, right? In terms of where you at in your portfolio, where you at into risk and reward, what are you going to do, if you're going to use leverage or not? So I always been bullish on Ethereum, so I keep buying on my own sort of portfolio whenever I have a chance. I don't care about the price, to be honest, when I do DCA. But when you actually do trading and stuff like that, you can actually maximize your portfolio on other alts. What do I mean by that? So we know now that Ethereum has a really good way to the upside. Now, if we go and analyze, let's go and analyze all the positions that we have in the 100x club right now, right? So let's start with Phoenix. So Phoenix token, really strong, really good. So far so good on that one. I wouldn't be selling that one yet. Pendle, what a great recovery, still at all-time highs. And once Ethereum, and I've been talking about the relationship between Pendle and Ethereum. So it's a lot of liquidity pools and staking that is being done on Pendle, and that's all on the Ethereum sort of blockchain. So that's highly correlated. So I think this could be better opportunity than Ethereum. Solana still working really well. Yeah, we had a little bit of pullback, so it's still going well. INJ, yeah, a little bit of pullback for the last couple of days, but still looking strong. So IMX, yeah, everything looks pretty much the same. Phoenix looking pretty strong from our entry, so far so good. BNB is going really strong. So I think BNB could be a really good opportunity if you're not in there. However, bear in mind, because these levels right here are actually holding pretty well. Look at this candle on a daily. The amount of buying power around here could be huge. And I'm looking at these levels right here. So we enter on February 12th, right? So we're really good position here with this upside. So looking really good, but if you're not in, this could be a really good one to get into, especially, where it's at the moment. So Phil is getting up there. I really like this one, but that could be biased from that perspective. But you will have a lot of more sort of risk reward gains, right, from picking out better alts than Ethereum. But if you really like Ethereum, I'll just keep buying. You know what I mean? Like this is different type of trades. So you need to decide what how do you split your portfolio around it, right? CeeLo, really good. Ape, getting up there. Yeah. A AOS. Anyway, never mind. My bad. To work on the pronunciation on this word, man. Anyway, coming back, that looks really strong, really bullish, right? Rune, really like this one, Rune. So if you're not in there, I think it could be a really great opportunity to get into Rune. Nia, yeah, hasn't, yeah, very strong. Same thing, Nia could be really good. Gal, getting up there. Not one of my favorites, but this could turn around. One of the things about alt season is, or the bull run is when everything hits, like everything is gonna raise. Some of them more than others, but at the end of the day, that's kind of the behavior of alt season, right? Everything's gonna raising. Everything is going to start appreciating value up to some point. So we have to be mindful when to start taking profits. W, yeah, like I say, this one is going to wiggle around. The good thing is I can see that no one is actually selling from this point. So that could be a bottom right there from this one in particular. I might add more on this one. I did add half a position here. So that could be a really good option as well. Ton, still good on Ton. We enter around here. Holding up pretty well right there. So it's still, yeah, really good one. Sita, yeah, this one is not really great. Let's see how this one actually plays out today. But the fact that we are on that level right here, so I'll have to wait to see if this one holds. If this one holds, that could be a really good one to hold. Pepe is actually cruising, man. Like Pepe is actually going really strong. Look at this thing. So really, we just entered this one last week, so it was working really well. AR is actually broken this side, but we still have a bullish structure. If you can actually see that, that will be a new level right here. So it's still really good in terms of the thing is it's already been an all-time highs, this one, right? So it's going into that price discovery. So some of these ones could just go ballistic, and some of these ones will just retrace. That's kind of the trick aspect of going into those positions, right? So, but this one is looking really bullish, really strong. And in terms of when the market comes back into the AI narrative, I think this one is the first one that is going to go more than likely. AVAX, we got into AVAX. still in a retracement. So you can actually see these candles getting less and less momentum. So, and the fact, let's have a look at this one, AS, AVAX, and so that was the thing that I was looking at, the transition between AVAX and Sol. And let's see where we at. Yep, we're looking good, looking really, really good. So it's still quite strong. So I can see some capital flow going from Solana to AVAX as long as we hold this level. Our position is well supported from that narrative perspective. Yeah, now we have a new level of acceptance. As you can see, now we're entering into this range. Ondo is working really, really great. I think last Friday, Scott did a leverage trade on Ondo, so that should have been working really well. But in terms of our portfolio is working amazingly. Like we enter here, now we enter here, we have another position. So this is one of our bests. So very, very low volume. Yeah, hold this one. This one could turn around quite quickly. Kudos getting up there. So far so good. I still like to break those levels to if you enter on this, if you haven't entered this one yet, probably wait until this one breaks those levels and then you could enter. And definitely this one could keep going. Ina's working really well. There's some certain pressure around here. But Ina is also so correlated with Pendle and correlated with Ethereum. So as far we have strength on Ethereum, this one will continue on. And working. Let's have a look. Yeah, getting back into like all the RWA narratives, I think are going well. So that's so far so good in terms of our positions. The new stuff that I'm looking at is all the Ethereum betas, right? So all the stuff that works on the Ethereum are working really well. So ENS really, really strong. I think we can actually get into a position in this one. Is going to enter into price discovery. So I think it's a lot of selling positions around here, but this could be, it's one of the strongest one right now in terms of all the Ethereum betas. ETHFI as well. So ETHFI has more potential, but ENS has been around in the market for longer. So that's kind of, or you can perhaps split your risk between the two of them. LDO is the same thing. So this is the ones I'm watching for this week. I really, really like these ones in terms of how Ethereum is performing. ARB as well. So ARB is another Ethereum beta, but it's not a lot of volume. However, look at this triangle here. It looks pretty well to the upside. So this all depends on how Ethereum is going to keep going. And these ones, guys, the RWA stuff, right? The fact that Ondo is token. Let's have a look at token. Yeah, Jeff, I've been talking about token. I think we should be on token. I'm seeing a lot of, let me have a look at this, because token is one of my favorites in terms of the new RWA stuff. So let's see where we at with token. So aggregated opens, the open interest is actually pretty good. Looks very strong. The only thing that I'm sort of is this double top on the interests, open interests. I'll look up this today to do a little bit more research, but I've been saying that this one could be the next one, the next RWA sort of king, because now obviously on this way too expensive from that perspective. Is getting up there, but all these ones could have really good potential. Token through Dusk as well. Yeah, Dusk is much more stronger than token from that perspective. So if you look at token, there is a lot of sellers around this area. However, these sellers haven't been able to push the market down. So what that means is we could see a massive influx over there, right? Yeah, I really like this one. So I think RWAs is just what's gonna drive the market a little bit. You can start seeing things. And the reason why you can start seeing things is because you see Ondo performing really well. So yeah, guys, I think that's what I have for today. So I don't know if you guys want to go through questions again or through coins or stuff like that. Maker. Let's have a look at Maker. Yeah.
Hey man, yeah, that was fantastic. I'm sure there'll be plenty of coins thrown in the chat.
All right, so we have Maker. Let's have a look at yeah, Maker is really, really well supported right here on this. I was looking at these levels. Obviously, I never got those levels. So Maker could be a really, really good one to get into. Maker has a great project going through, so it looks good. I really like Maker. Let me just make this. I'll look it up during the week.
Just one little comment here. So when you're looking at Maurizio's charts there, look at the colored lines that he's got that are set up at different supports and resistances. And what I find really helped me with my trading is when I went about removing as much emotion from trading as I possibly could. So whilst we do need to know the numbers for entries and stuff like this, and this might seem really, 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 really basic, it's a lot easier when you look at these charts and you go, right, I need something to happen on the black line. When something happens on the black line, then I think we could head towards the purple line. And it's like when you just think about it like that way, because the moment that you look at a chart and in the back of your head, you are having this conversation that equates what you are going to do with your profit, then that's like emotion in trading, because you look, oh, this is a 50% move, this is an 80% move, I can whack this at back in 50x leverage, woo, when Lambo. And like all that stuff can just be playing around in your head. So if we look at this chart here, you could just look at it and go, well, okay, then there's two black lines. So what's happened before in those two black lines? What generally happens when we go up and touch that first black line? Can we get to the set? And that really is a way that you can begin to see the story unfold with these coins. Sorry to interrupt, Maurizio. There you go.
No. That's well said, man. Yeah, exactly. That's why I draw it, because obviously, if you let's just do something silly here and let's just delete. Let's hide drawings, okay? So when you go back and look at this without any levels or any stuff like that, yes, awesome. You can actually see this range of consolidation. That's great, but at some point, where is the first thing to this one stop? Like, what, you know what I mean? Where is at this in price discovery? Is this on, like, has this level been there before? Is people are willing to actually take some profits there? Because that's very, very interesting when you actually bring up your. So imagine that you bought here and you expect that this thing is gonna go to, I don't know, 10,000 or something, right? And then is that going to be the case, or is this going to retrace? So what we're looking is to find the balance of finding the fair value of the price, right? Why people are willing to buy certain asset at, and we capitalize on that technically. So, and when we get our levels back, funny enough, bang, it retrace right there, right here on these levels. It didn't hold, and then it retraced hard. So things like that you can capitalize, especially if you do short-term trading. If you do long-term trading, like, yeah, it's not, doesn't matter much, but at least it gives you some ideas. Okay.
Nice. That's really nice. And when you look at those wiggly lines as well, or those colored lines, like just as Maurizio said, you can see what's happened in the past with old all-time highs. So let's say, I don't know, AVAX is the first coin that come into my head. All right. So let's say that you bought AVAX right now. Okay. Well, you can look back at where did AVAX get to when it's in its old all-time highs. So as the price of AVAX increases, you remember right at the start when we were looking at the Bitcoin and we said the person that wasn't interested in Bitcoin at 14,000 is now interested in Bitcoin at 74,000. Well, AVAX, Woo, all of these type of coins that we believe can do really well, you know, in the exponential phase of the bull market, because we're in a bull market categorically, but there's different phases within the bull market as well. So coins like AVAX, AR, stuff like this, whatever the kind of close or the near volatility is, you know, depends on if you're trading on a short-term 15-minute chart, then yeah, you're interested in that volatility. You're trading that volatility. But if you're holding to sell much later on, then unless you've got too much leverage riding on it, you know, you're absolutely fine just to sit and hold, and then you can sell out for a nice profit later on. If you're holding it on spot, which I strongly recommend, then you haven't got to worry about being vaporized with leverage. You know what I mean? You can just sit and you can hold it, you know, and then we'll issue a sell alert. You know what I mean? You can of course take profits when you want to, but here's the difference between a pro and a retail, right? A retail will see the price of the coin go down and they'll panic because there's emotions that are attached to it. Whereas a pro will be like, right, I'll buy more, I'll buy more, I'll buy more, I'll buy more. That's the difference, you see. And it's just about removing the emotions. How do we remove the emotions? We don't bet so big. We don't use so much leverage. We don't think about the Lamborghinis all the time. That's how we just sleep at night, basically. And that's what it comes down to is, can you have a nice life and do this, you know? Or you picked a hell of a week to quit glue sniffing.
Glue sniffing. Yep. Right. Big.
What a habit that is to get. I think I'm going to get into the glue today.
Fair enough.
Nice.
Right.
All right. That was a pretty awesome call. I think we've been over a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know if there's any final thoughts from you, Maurizio, or any outlook for a week or anything.
No, I think so far so good. Obviously, there's a lot of leverage against being wiped last week. Probably leverage will come in. Some shakeouts as well. But market looks good this week, man. Like honestly, so we might start looking into different leverage stuff this week. Yeah, no, it looks really good. And come back to, you know, I know Scott is having another masterclass this Friday. So yeah, come along, man. It's been like quite great.
Yeah, keep your eye on the email for an invite and I can't talk today for an invite. Right, coffee time. Thank you,
Coffee
Maurizio.
time.
Thank
See
you,
you
everyone.
guys.
See you in the
Bye-bye.
group. Hang on. Cat hairs on the mouse. It won't work. There we go.